back with Raise the Vibration with another fun author interview to share with you one of the contributing authors for Raise the Vibration, a weekly guide for alchemizing the human experience. So we're going to be joined today by one of my favorite people, soul brothers, Ky Nix. So back in March of 2020, I thought, what can I do? The whole world was in fear. We were in this state of like not knowing what was going to happen. And whenever we're in a state of fear, it feels like we don't know what to do. We kind of get imprisoned in our own fear brain and almost like paralyzed by it. So what I thought was, I just kind of heard the drop in that says, get people to focus on the resilience. And so I reached out to my friends and my colleagues and said, hey, do you guys want to contribute to this compilation? I didn't know if it was going to be a book of essays or what, and said, would you be willing to write a story about something you overcame that's less than 1,000 words and have it, which is tough, I know. And that's something that you overcame in the past, because if we focus on what we overcame, then we remember who we are and we're more effective at battling what we're dealing in the present moment. So those of you who don't know Ky, Ky is, I feel like how I see you is like the epitome of a leader with a heart of gold, like in a nutshell. And that he is a native New Yorker, so, obviously a badass. And then also just involved in so many entrepreneurial ventures, through fitness, through health coaching, through even having his own designer brand of accessories. You have your hand in everything, which I really appreciate, because if I just did one thing too, I would be bored to tears. And he even led his first men's retreat recently also, which looked incredible. So I want you to share who Ky Nix is for everybody. I know you, but I know that you're also like just a bottomless energy of goodness and wisdom, and just share with us who you are, my friend.
Wow, I'm usually doing incredible introductions for everybody else, but that was finally good to hear one from me.
Oh, well, you deserve it. You deserve it, my friend.
Good to hear one, as many introductions that I've done. But thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Absolutely.
You're amazing. And
thank
first
you, babe.
and foremost, I love you beyond anything in the world. You're just an incredible human being.
Thank you.
I love you.
Feel the same way. It's like family, it's just beautiful.
Yes. Yes. And it was an absolute pleasure of you asking me to be a part of your magical book. So thank you for that also.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful that you're part of this.
So honored. So who is Ky Nix? Born and raised in New York City, basically born and raised in Harlem, New York.
Yeah.
Raised by my mom and my dad. And unfortunately, not to dive right into it, my mom started raising me from 14 when I became a freshman in high school. My dad and my mom separated and they divorced, and my mom continued to raise me, and my dad also continued to raise me. So they remained close. They always remained close. No bitterness there or anything. It just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. So they continued to both raise me in love. Let's see, did my schooling, went off to college, went to college in Virginia. Went to VCU. VCU. Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. Stayed there for a little while. Then I came back and I graduated from City College in New York. Yes, so I came back and graduated.
And you used to run a bunch of health clubs in New York too, right?
I used to run health clubs. That was my thing. I worked in radio for many years.
That makes a lot of sense with your voice.
The number one radio station in New York City, Kiss FM. Did that for a while. I was a bartender for 10 years at one of the hottest nightclubs in New York City. I was the bar manager and bartender. So did that for a while. It was a club called the Octagon.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
It was the Octagon in New York City. Big club back in the days, and I was the head bartender there for
I wasn't cool enough to get in there, so
I would have put you on the VIP list for sure.
Oh man, too late.
You would have been on the VIP list every weekend.
Next life.
Next life. And then after that, I worked 1 year on Wall Street. Figured out it was like can't do the Wall Street thing. It's just
Yeah.
like it's like robots down there. Putting on this
Mm,
suit,
not
going to
for you,
work,
man. Not, I
coming
can't see you
home.
doing that. I
Like
can't see you doing that.
everybody down in the financial district, they're all like clones. Everybody's a clone.
Oh,
Everybody's wearing a blue or a black suit,
I feel
and
like I
it's
should be
like
like, oh, total diss.
so. Yeah, did that for 1 year, and then I was like, that's not my calling, and my calling
Yeah, yeah.
led me to fitness. So started uh, working at one of the top health clubs in New York City. It was
Mm.
originally called Prescriptive Fitness, but then it quickly changed over to Gold's Gym. So
Oh, yeah, of
I
course.
stayed at Gold's Gym. I ran Gold's Gym for 10 years in New York
Oh,
City. A lot of celebrities came through, and
oh
that was
yeah.
my life. That was my life, just helping people get fit and get
Mm.
into a better state of mind and in better shape. So fitness is my life at this point in time. I love it. Some of my hobbies, I'm a fisherman at heart.
Yeah.
I love fishing.
Motorcycles too.
Motorcycles, like that's my two go-tos,
Oh,
motorcycles and fishing. So if
how
I can have both
extreme
of
are
those.
those? Like, they're totally on opposite ends of the spectrum, I feel like, but you could ride your motorcycle to go fishing, but dang, they
That's what I
are,
used to do too. I used to hop on my motorcycle and ride to go fishing.
that's
So
so cool.
the two best things in life for me,
I love it.
motorcycles and fishing. So I
I
started
love
fishing. My
it.
dad took me fishing for the first time when I was 18 months old. So
Oh,
ever since 18 months old, basically, I've been fishing ever
oh,
since.
I
And then
love it.
it stayed with me. I have a whole arm full of
Fish.
fishing related tattoos. So that's my life. I have a whole
Oh
sleeve of fishing
man.
related tattoos.
And I can't wait. Don't show it yet, but I can't wait for you to show your other tattoo because that was the coolest thing
That's the big one.
ever.
That's the
So
big
we'll
one.
wait on
Yeah.
that. We'll keep the suspense going. So okay,
And wait, and well,
yeah, yeah. Oh, please, please.
I can't forget that, in 2012, I met the love of my life.
The
And when I got
queen.
married, the queen, I
The
got
queen.
married, the queen, Zia Nix,
Oh
Dr.
yeah.
Zia Nix, Dr. Zia
Yep.
Nix, and
Oh
that we
yeah.
met in 2012 and we got married in 2014. And we're
Yes.
approaching our 8-year anniversary this year. So
When is it?
it is July 30th.
Ah, so
July
lovely. Eight
30th.
is a special year.
8 years, July 30th. So
And
beautiful
you have a
thing.
little one too, who's not so little anymore.
Not so little. She's about to have a birthday June 16th, which is coming up. She'll be 25
Oh,
years old.
happy
So
birthday.
yes, my daughter DJ will be
Yeah.
Djahna, but everybody calls her DJ, but she'll
Yeah,
be
yeah.
25 years
She's
old.
so
And
beautiful and just
she's
so
awesome.
just
She's awesome.
wise beyond her years, you know?
She's awesome. She's living in the city doing her thing. So
Aw,
everything's great. And of
yeah.
course, the wife and I, we have our own business. We're in doTERRA and everything. We deal with essential oils,
Yeah.
those incredible essential oils. So
Anthony loves
it,
his shirt that you gave him. The true test of a man is how he oils up, right?
yes, that's right. That's
Anthony
right.
loves
That's
that. We think of you every time he wears
that's
that.
right. So that's a big part of my
Yeah, you
life
guys are
also.
superstars in doTERRA. I mean, you have such a
That's a big
beautiful
part.
team of people and just
Yeah.
have helped so many people, have done sourcing trips for doTERRA, going into the countries and working with people, boots on the ground. And I mean, you guys
Yeah.
are superstars in that.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Yeah.
like you mentioned previously, I just did my first men's retreat. So something that men in the world need is, brotherhood connection.
Oh,
And
yeah.
a lot of men are missing that. So myself and 3 other partners, we started REYL, which stands for Recommit Every Day You Live. So we just had our first retreat back in February in Arizona, Mesa, Arizona, and 24 powerful men came out totally different and
Oof.
changed. And it was incredible. It was
That's
incredible.
so
So
powerful. I
planning
was,
to do our second men's retreat first week in November in
ooh,
Florida. So
cool, cool, cool. All right,
stay tuned, stay
save the
tuned,
date,
save
save
the
the date.
date,
Where is it going to
save
be?
the
Same
date.
place?
No, this one's gonna be in Florida. First one was in
Ah,
Arizona. This one will be in Florida.
sweet.
So
Oh, that's
yeah.
so fun. I was just interviewing another guy who's in the book, and his theme is sacred masculinity, that his week, and it's all
Oh
about
yeah. I love it.
All about his
I love it.
relationship with his son. And we were just talking about this, that, you know, when we had our yoga studio in Astoria in New York City, I've had a women's circle for it's in its 20th year right now, which kind of blows my mind. It makes me
Wow.
feel a little bit old, but 20th
Never.
year. And we tried, I mean, every month we'd be flooded with women every single month with this circle. And we now have it online. But Anthony tried to start a men's group, and if we got like 4 guys, it would be like really a success. So in
Wow.
the society, it's just not, we're not encouraging men enough to be open with their feelings, honor their feelings,
Absolutely.
recognize that their hearts are the greatest source of wealth and power that they have. And I just really, I feel so blessed that I have a partner that I do who is so brilliantly, sacredly in his masculine energy. And then also I've got friends like you and Alex, who I interviewed before, who just are connected to the power of that masculine energy and not shy of being their full selves.
Yeah, absolutely. And men have to, also realize that you have to be powerful in that masculine energy, but we also hold feminine energy
That's
also.
right.
And you can't shy away from the feminine energy in your well-being, because that allows you to be compassionate. That allows you to, be vulnerable.
Oh
So many
yeah.
men don't want to be vulnerable. We were always brought up as men since little boys not to cry. Don't you
Yeah.
cry. So you gotta show that other side also. So once you find the
Yeah.
balance of the two, it's a beautiful thing once it connects and everything.
Oh yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
good luck having an intimate relationship if you can't be vulnerable and show your
Oh,
feelings.
that's
Like,
that's
good
gonna be
luck,
really,
right?
really tough. That's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to dive into your story. And I mean,
Mhm.
you're somebody who's been through a lot in your life. Like, everybody has a story, everybody has different things they've overcome. Even you're live from where right now?
But live from Mexico.
From
I'm in
Mexico.
Mexico. The wife and I are in Mexico right now. So we actually relocated from upstate New York in the Catskill region. We were about an hour, 30 minutes north of Manhattan, living there. Love it up there. We'll actually go
So
back
gorgeous.
eventually. But we
Yeah,
decided to take the leap of faith and jump with both feet in, and we moved to Mexico for 1 year. So
incredible.
we're in Mexico right now in Puerto Morelos. So we're enjoying Puerto Morelos for a month, and then we're going to
Oh,
go somewhere else and figure out where we love, and we'll go from there. But we're in Mexico right now.
yeah, I love it. And you guys are both like super adventurous. I mean, I feel like that's why the 4 of us are such good friends. I mean, we just kind of get that life is to be lived,
Oh
and
yeah,
you're somebody who's overcome so much, and then also just kind of takes life by the horns and just said, "Let's do this. Let's dive in. Let's get
absolutely,
even deeper into the juiciness of life." And I think that's why we're all
absolutely.
such good friends.
Yeah,
And
the four of us are a vibe. We're definitely a
uh,
vibe.
we're just
We're definitely all four of us are
Zzz,
a
totally,
vibe.
totally. And you, a lot of the authors wrote about one of the most pivotal moments in their life, and certainly your story is so incredibly pivotal in your life and has influenced you so much on so many way in so many ways. And can you just share, with all of the stories you could have written about things that you've overcome, why this story and why is it important to you?
Oh gosh, well, this was a major, major thing that happened to me in my life, and it changed actually who I was as a man and who I became as a man
Hmm.
from this experience. I don't know if you just want me to dive right into what
Yeah, go
happened
ahead. Go
or.
ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
So, as I mentioned prior, that my mom and my dad divorced when I was 14, and my dad always remained close to the family, always remained good friends with my mom. So we would continue our fishing journeys and our fishing trips like every other weekend. We would go somewhere and just fish it out and catch tons of fish. So that was our connection always. We always had that connection between us.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in 2003, so it's been 19 years, going on 19 years now, my dad, I don't talk about this often, but I've learned to talk about it openly. I've
Mm,
kept it in for so long, but you got to
mm.
do the work with yourself where you can let stuff out.
Yeah.
So my dad was actually murdered in his apartment in 2003. And how I came to find that out was the most eerie, weird, unexpected thing that I can ever imagine. And I guess I'll tell the story. You know, um, give me a moment because it's always a little tough to talk about when I bring this up, but we'll get through it because I've done the work.
Thank
yeah. So it was a Saturday, and like I said, we always head out somewhere upstate, go trout fishing, go bass fishing. Um, and earlier in that week, we just said, hey, we're going out Saturday. I'll pick you up. He lived in Harlem. I lived in Westchester. I'll pick you up with my mom. I'll pick my mom and my daughter. I'll pick my mom up. And then I'll have my daughter with me, of course. And then we'll go pick you up from your house. We'll pick you up around 9 a.m. So my daughter and I head out, and then we go pick up my mom, who was at that point in time still living in Harlem, picked her up. And after picking her up, I give my dad a call. He doesn't answer the phone, which is weird because he knows we're going fishing, so he doesn't answer. And I called him about 5, 6 times, give or take. And at that point, I was like, okay, he's not answering. He must be out. He must have left his phone in the house, and he stepped out to the store to grab some goods for the fishing trip. Let's just drive over there. So I drive over there, which was a short distance, about 10 minutes away, and call him again. Still not answering his phone. Still not answering the phone. So I'm like, this is so weird. So we sit out in front of his building for about 15 minutes, doesn't come back. And my mother's like, just go upstairs. He's like, go upstairs. So I go upstairs and I'm knocking on the door, knocking, no answer. There's just no answer. And I'm like, this is the weirdest thing ever. Like he never misses fishing. Like this is our go-to. So didn't answer the door. I went back downstairs, sat for about another 10, 15 minutes, never came back. And I'm like, wow, this is strange. And I was like, okay, maybe he had something to do, emergency, and he just can't answer his phone right now. So we decided to continue and still go fishing upstate. So it's just myself, my mom, and my daughter. So we go up fishing, and for the first time ever, it felt weird. It didn't feel right. It didn't sit right in my heart. Something was off. Something was just off. And it was probably the first time in a long time since I was a kid that I didn't catch one fish. I didn't even have a bite the entire day. Like the entire day, never caught one fish, didn't have one bite. I was like, this is the weirdest day ever. Something's wrong here. So we leave, go back, and I was like, I need to go back over to my dad's house. We go back to his house, and I go upstairs, and there's yellow police tape all around his door at this point in time. And I'm like, I was frozen, like yellow police tape everywhere. So at that point in time, I go back downstairs to tell my mom. She's like, let's go to the closest precinct. We go to the closest precinct next to him, and the detective identifies me. He's like, are you Ky Nix? And I was like, yes. It's like, have a seat. I just want to let you know that she's like, first he's like, it's your father, Leroy Nix. And I was like, yes, that's my father, Leroy Nix. Well, I'm like, what's going on? He's like, well, I'm sorry to tell you that your father's been murdered inside of his apartment. And my world just, everything just went black. And I went back downstairs. I told my mother. She started crying. My daughter was crying, and I didn't cry yet. And what's weird is it took me about gosh, it took me a while to actually cry and let it go and realize that my dad was gone.
Mm.
And at that point in time, I shut down. I shut down in so many ways. I had so much anger inside of me. I went back to work like three
Like
days later.
immediately, right?
Like three
Wow.
days later, I was
Yeah.
back at work running the gym because I just wanted to like try to blank it out and like
Yeah.
that really didn't happen. So let me go back to work and see if, and I went back to work. And for so many years, I kept it in. I kept
Mm.
the anger inside of me. So as nice of a guy as I am, the smallest thing would set me off.
Mm.
Like it could be the smallest thing and I would get angry at
Yeah.
but it wasn't the person in front of me. It was me holding in so much anger that I needed to release it at times. And I released it on people
Yeah.
or released it on certain things. I might yell at my daughter for doing something silly. And
Mm.
it wasn't, so that was 2003. I didn't meet my wife until 2012. And between that time of 9 years, I wasn't really doing personal development. I was working my butt off as a single father, taking care of my daughter, making money, but never doing the personal work for myself.
Yeah.
And my father was just murdered, and I'm not doing any personal work on myself. So I'm holding all of this in. And it wasn't until I met my wife, Dr. Zia, that she actually got me into personal development. She was like, "You need to start doing personal because
I'm sure she did.
she was doing it's like you need to do it." And
Yeah.
immediately, so uh, so she introduced me not only to essential oils with the
Oh,
company doTERRA, but she introduced me to personal development. I
yeah.
started getting into personal development when we got married in 2014. The day we got married, as soon as we got married in Mexico, as soon as we got back to New York, she was like, "You're going to this personal development called Enlightened Warrior Training in Canada, BC, Canada. You're
Yeah.
leaving right now." And I'm like, "What? Where am I going?" I didn't even know where I was getting into, but she was like, "You're going." And at that retreat, it allowed me to start opening up and started to really speak about what happened with my dad.
Mm.
And once I started doing that, about talking about his passing,
Yeah.
I got softer. My heart got softer.
Mm.
Um, I got softer as a man. And when I say
Mm-hmm.
softer, I mean, I got vulnerable. I started to tap into why it happened or it's not my fault because for so long I was angry
Mm.
thinking it was my fault. What
Yeah.
could I have done better as a son so that didn't happen to him? So I
Mm.
put the blame on me for so long. And it
Yeah.
took a while of inner self-reflection,
Mm.
personal work to find out, it's not your fault, Ky, that happened.
Yeah.
Don't blame yourself for that. Don't beat yourself up for that. And it took a while for that. And whoever doesn't do personal development, it's like you have to work on yourself. You have to
Yeah.
work on yourself. Because without that, I'm not sure if I would be married right now still if I wasn't
Right.
doing the work,
Right.
because I was so angry inside and I blame
Yeah.
myself for what happened to my dad. So
I mean,
I'm
going
a, I'm a
through
better man
tragedy.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. You are. And I mean, that's, the only way out is through. We hear that all the time. And a lot of
Right.
people want to blame themselves because we feel like we could have, if we had done something, we could have prevented the tragedy in our life. And we
Right.
forget
Right.
that we have this co-creation happening at all times. And it's a fear, it's an egoic fear of not having that control, but it's a very human fear of wanting to have been able to protect your dad. With each story, I match a chakra to it, and your chakra
Yeah.
I match with your story with your father is the fifth chakra, because the fifth chakra is all about co-creation. It's where our soul or our spirit self connects with our physical self, and also is that center of co-creation of what we can and can't control.
Right.
And that
Right.
the root one of the key words for that chakra is choice. And, you know, through Zia's help and just through your own courage of stepping into more self-development work, you chose something to go deeper into the pain. And I want you to share with the viewers, like, what do you want them to take out of your story? Like, what lesson do you want them to take? Because the theme that I chose for you is life is precious. I mean, that's just something that
Yeah,
spoke to me
yeah.
from your story. But for you, like, can you put it in your own words? What do you want people to take from this story? And yeah,
Yeah, well, let me, before I jump right into that, I just want to
yeah,
say that um, for a long time, fishing has been my life. It's been my passion. And after that happened, I didn't fish for a long time.
right.
I didn't fish for a very, very long time. Like that was missing from my life. And that made me even more depressed
Oh
and more
yeah, because that
because
was like your
I wasn't
therapy. And
I wasn't
yeah.
even doing the thing that I love, and fishing was my therapy. And it took, people who love me to say, Ky, you just gotta go. Just go. And fishing is the connection with your dad. So
Mm.
if you don't fish, you're not connecting with your dad. And I was like, wow, okay. And one day I just went by myself and it was pouring rain, pouring. And I was like, I'm staying out here. I was the only one out there, pouring rain. I caught so many fish. I was like, I was, I caught so many fish. It was incredible that day. And I was like, wow, this is the connection between me and my father. And I felt it when I was fishing. I felt my dad right there with me saying, thank you. Finally, you're back at us reuniting and doing what we do, what we love to do best, and that's fish. And you've put that off for so long and you're back. And I'm glad you're back. So that reestablished the connection between me and my dad. And, I just want to tell
Beautiful.
whoever might take something from this or take a little nugget from my words is that, we're all going to go through these trying times, these super hard times, these times that you feel that you just can't crawl out of. And there's work that you have to do
Mm.
first, and that's internal work on yourself. You know, um, a lot of us are helpers. We want to help other people before we help ourselves. And you have to help yourself first. You have to heal yourself first. And I needed
Mhm.
healing of myself before I can do anything else, before I can love abundantly, before I can do whatever God has chosen me to do in this world. I needed to heal my heart first. So I say to people, if you're going through something, however it might unfold to you, figure out how you can heal. Whether it's talking to whoever, it might not be your partner, it could be a religious figure, it could be another family member, it could be somebody you don't even know. But you need to get out
Mm.
what anger or depression or whatever it is might be that you're holding inside your body. You need to express that out and talk about it. If you're not talking about it and claiming it and identifying with it, it's not going to heal. You're not going to
Mhm.
heal. And I want everybody to heal,
Yeah.
but you have to talk about what's going on. And men do it, women do it. We hold in our anger so much. We hold in our pain. We hold in our
Yeah.
sadness. And all that does is it builds and it manifests into something that's unhealthy. And once that starts and continues to manifest within the body will eventually break down sooner than it's
Mhm.
supposed to be. So sooner than it's supposed to. It'll break down because your body can't handle
Yeah.
that type of darkness. So you have to talk about
Yeah.
whatever that's going through with you. So I wish that for everybody
Mhm.
who, listen, I had to talk about it. I held it in for 9 years. Could you imagine the buildup in my heart for 9 years of not after my dad got murdered, not talking about it. Wow, it's and once I started, it it started to change like that, and I became so much softer, so much more gentle as a man, and so much more loving, so much more compassionate. So it's so important, so important.
Mm.
It's powerful. It's powerful. Yeah, we have to express these things.
Yeah.
And your book, and your book, which allowed me to talk more about that, which I thank you for again. Thank you for allowing me to share that with everyone who's gonna
Oh,
read your book, which will
so
be a lot
honored.
of people, a lot of people. But if they can take just something away from my little story, it's gonna be so many stories in that book that you'll get beautiful nuggets
Oh,
from. But if
so
you can take
beautiful.
one little nugget from mine is that open your heart up and let the things out and share
Mm.
what's going on that's paining you. Trust me that you're gonna, on the other side, you're gonna start to
Mm.
feel a weight lifted off your shoulders of getting it out and talking about it and expressing it. So please do that for me, do that for Anne
Yes.
Margaret. You know, don't hold these things in.
Yes.
And if everybody did that, imagine what this world would be like. Imagine this world where
Right.
everybody was expressing themselves and not holding in things that were bothering, that were upsetting them, that were making them angry. You know, it's we need to
You know,
release
when we
these things.
don't
We're not, our
express
bodies
them,
are,
we also
yeah,
go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. I'm just saying, our bodies are not built to hold these
To
negative
hold,
things in.
right?
It's not built to hold the negative in. It's
That's
built to
right.
hold
It needs
positive
to
in.
flow.
They're built.
It needs to
It needs to flow.
express.
It needs to
Yeah.
flow. It needs to
Yeah.
flow. And if it flow, and like I said,
And
if
we
that
really,
anger,
yeah.
if that, go ahead. Yeah, I was saying, if the anger, the sadness, the heartbreak, if that all flows in, you got to let it flow out too. You can't let it flow in and fester. It has to flow out. And the only way it flows out is through talking and expressing yourself.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. It's where our
Yeah,
blockages come from in our hearts. Why we have heart disease as the number one killer. Like it's such a top killer for us, and we're not able to do that. And when we don't feel the pain, we don't feel the depth of grief and heartache. We don't feel the joys at their epitome. We just don't. We don't have
yeah,
access to that feeling body. We just take the waves and we try and control them, so we make the top also smaller as well. So well,
absolutely.
last question for you. I have one more. It's just been such a pleasure being with you this morning.
I love
Um,
being with you.
it's, I can't wait till we can all be in person again, the four of us. It's gonna be such a reunion. I mean, we'll come down to Mexico and visit you guys. um,
Yeah.
oh, that'd be so fun. So, lastly, is the question: storytelling is as old as can be. It's through indigenous
Right.
times till the present. It's the way that we processed our grief. You've already talked about that, obviously. It also is a way that we share our wisdom, the way that we allow the next generation or the reader in this circumstance to stand on our shoulders and stand on the author's shoulders. All these 52 people have contributed to the stories of this book, and learn, and learn from that, so that they're little hacks, life hacks, and uh, what did you get out of the story and writing your own story? Because at the end of the book, there are a few pages inspired by your queen, of course, the brilliant, sagacious Dr. Zia Nix, who was like, hey, I think we should, she just drops the bombs, right? And she's like, I think we should include some pages at the end where people can write their own story. And I was like, that was brilliant. Like, yes. So we have some pages at the end, but like, why does the reader want to author their own story? What did you get out of it? I want to share the other tattoo because we've been keeping them on a cliffhanger this whole
Yeah,
interview.
we did that. I wanted to share my story with everyone because even though it's been since 2003, it's still a healing process. And for me to be able to, this was actually the first time of writing down what happened, and it hits differently
Mm-hmm.
when you write things down. You know, I mean, I've been speaking about the death of my father for many years now, since I started doing the work on myself. But this is actually the first time that I was actually pen to paper writing down what happened. And when you do that, it makes you look at it a little differently, and it hits in the heart a little differently. And it allowed me to heal another section of my heart writing it down opposed to speaking it. And that's why people have diaries, because writing stuff down is important. So that allowed me for the healing process to continue about what happened. And that just healed a whole huge section of my heart by doing this story and writing that, putting pen to paper and sharing that. Yeah, and sharing that with that heartache that I went through on paper, so I can
You
see
shared that with Zia
without.
too. You shared your stories together.
Yes, 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 we did. And she's always like, gotta talk about it, Kai. You gotta talk about it. And I've like I said, I've shared so much uh recently within the years about what happened with my dad. And it's been such a healing process, because now I know that he's with me. Um, Now I know that he's always watching. Uh, for every fish that I catch, he's right behind me. He's standing right behind me with the net, and he's ready to go. And he's like, what he would always say when we catch a fish, he would always say, catching fish. And he would always yell at, no matter where we are, on the river or on the lake, someone catching fish. And,
That's great.
and, and that inspired me. I don't know if should I share it now. It inspired me to actually go out and get some ink work done on myself. And I got this wonderful tattoo that reflects. I don't know if you guys can see it, but you can see it a little bit, and it says right there,
Oh, so beautiful.
but there's words at the top that read, I'll always remember the things you have taught me. I'll always remember the things that you have taught me. And that's me and my dad fishing. And he's always taught me fishing. And at the bottom, it says catching fish.
Catching fish.
At the bottom, it says catching fish. And I would not have gotten that tattoo in remembrance of my dad if it wasn't for Anne Margaret in this book. Because this book inspired me. Once again, things hit differently when you write things down. So once I wrote that down, it hit me differently in the heart. And that inspired me to get the tattoo. So, and I look at this tattoo, I mean, it's, of course, it's on my arm, but it's such a beautiful tattoo that I thank you for, like, I should put like little Anne Margaret somewhere. Thank you on my arm somewhere.
I need some credit on the earring.
It was because of you. So thank you for that. It was the book.
Man.
It was you for that inspired me to get that tattoo.
Oh man. Well, Kai, thank you so much. I mean, I'm just so honored to have your story in this book and to have you as a friend and just like my soul brother. And I just love you so much. And I can't wait for people to read your story and just be able to integrate your wisdom in their own life that this book offers that opportunity for through the exercises and the journaling prompts. And thank you for saying yes. I have a lot of crazy ideas, and this was one that if we just listen to those nudges that we get, it turns into something beautiful, even though we don't know what it's going to be at the end. Like this was a one-step reveal every step of the way. Like I felt like I was blindfolded every step, and I just appreciate you and the other authors so much for just going with it and trusting me. And I can't wait for people to get it in their hands. My wish is that the authors, just with all of the benevolence that you guys gave, like with this, that it just repaid to you tenfold, because that is the gift of sharing this powerful vulnerability through your own stories. So I love you, my friend, and
I love you. I love you so much. I love you so much. Thank you again. Thank you for everything. I can't wait to read the other stories. So that's good because, like I said, there's gonna be so many great nuggets in all these stories. So I can't wait to read the other ones. And thank you for everything. Thank you just for being a presence in my life. And I love you beyond reason. And thank you.
Love you, babe. Love you. And please give the queen a big hug and kiss from me, okay? Love her so much.
I will.
His wife wrote the foreword to the book even. So like that was just such a dear gift. So love you, my friend, and I hope to see you soon.
Love you. Say hello to my brother.
Oh, I will. He's so jealous that he couldn't be with us today. So thank you all of you who are watching this live or in replay. I really appreciate you guys. And I'm so glad you got to know a little bit more about Ky. Will you give them your handle just so they know where to find you anywhere else before we say goodbye? What's
yes. On Instagram is it's real. It's REYL _is_real REAL. Real is real.
Love it. I love it. And guys, check out his retreat, Ky Nix on Facebook. Guys, check out his retreats and their essential oils, and they've got such an incredible. We have essential oils throughout the entire book, so you'll get a lot of education through that as well. But thank you, my brother. I love you. So grateful for you. And our viewers, until next time, keep raising the vibration, everybody. All right, bye.